People don't even know that in the 1950s and 60s and 70s, they had a legal program in London, in England. He brought enough to give every person in Canada, man, woman, and child, a half a pound. He moved like 80,000 pounds at a time. And then I worked on the border of Pakistan and Afghanistan. We'd load them up, and at daybreak the next morning, we'd send them to Lahore. And in Lahore, they wouldn't have been in the country 24 hours. Oh, because they've been taught that the more light, the bigger the bud. Guess what? The less light, the bigger the bud. It's opposite. It's all backwards.
That's how they fuck you up too.
That's how they fuck you up, dude. And they'll tell you, oh, wait until the trichomes turn amber. Until when they're 50% amber, then you make your hash. No, your hash has been degraded. Fresh frozen is a scam so that you buy expensive equipment. People say, don't say it like it is because if you start putting people down and da-da-da-da-da-da. Well, let me tell you, we're smugglers, man. I've been smuggling the shit out of fucking Afghanistan and Pakistan, Lebanon, Nepal since the 60s. Everything's a scam nowadays in the industry.
All right. What is up, everybody? It's the Queens on the Map podcast. We got a special guest over here. I'm going to let you introduce yourself, boss.
Okay, I'm JOE Pietri. Brooklyn. I grew up here in Brooklyn, by the way. I wrote the book, The King of Nepal, Life Before the Drug Wars. And basically, I also have a company called Gold Crown Seeds, where I sell land races and F1. And basically, for the last few years, I've been doing genetics and putting the cannabinoids and the terpenes and the flavors and taste back into the weed that's missing today. It's not the same weed that we grew up with in the 60s and 70s and 80s. People always ask me, how come we're not smoking Thai sticks anymore? How come we're not smoking that great Hawaiian or that great Jamaican or that great, California weed or whatever, and the great hashes that we used to bring from Asia? And basically, the answer to that question is Ronald Reagan. Ronald Reagan allowed the Drug Enforcement Agency to get high.
Because before that, it was pretty common everywhere, right?
Yeah, it was everywhere. In New York, New York has always been the biggest market in the States. And, you could go to New York, there'd be like 10, 15 different types of hash available on the market from Pakistan, Lebanon, Nepal, India, Kashmir, and Afghanistan, and so you had a big selection of hash here and you had a really big selection of weed. You could come to New York City and there'd be 20, 30 different kinds of weed, 10, half a dozen different types of Colombian gold, Colombian red, mixture or like a rainbow colored Colombian. And then you had commercial Colombian. When I go to Jamaica, I want to smoke Jamaican Kali or lamb's bread. I don't go to Jamaica to smoke Dutch treat.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I try to put those original flavors back in and the original genetics back in. I have people now that are growing indoors in Hawaii. I mean, why would you want to grow indoors in Hawaii when that's the most perfect climate for growing weed in the world?
Yeah.
I mean, the Hawaiian weed that we used to get back then was sell on Wall Street for $6,400 a pound, $375 an ounce. It was vacuum sealed and nitrogen flushed, so no matter when you open it, it was like fresh as the day it was packed.
What does it mean by nitrogen flushed?
It's a nitrogen. Nitrogen keeps it fresh, and actually helps cure the weed.
Oh, I thought they wanted you want to get all the nitrogen out and everything by the time you're on the end of flower, like. Well,
this is dry weed. You've already flowered. You've already
flushed out the nitrogen and everything.
We've already flushed the plants.
Okay.
Right, but you put a nitrogen flush in there. It keeps it fresh. You ever open up a bag of potato chips?
Okay.
And you open them up, and it's all packed in there in air.
Yeah.
It's vacuum flushed. You open it up, the potato chips are fresh.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
The only time they start to degrade is when you open up that package.
Oh, so same thing with the packs.
Yeah, same thing with the packs. And they've been using a nitrogen flush to keep cookies. You know, you buy a bag of cookies. The cookies were 6 months old, but they were vacuum sealed and nitrogen flushed. When you open up the cookies, they're as fresh as the day they were baked.
Yeah. Okay.
You know what I mean? So that's something that we use. Like when Thailand, when we ship weed from Thailand, you know, it would take maybe 6 months for the weed to get to the coast, to get to back into America, sometimes longer. So we had to develop a method of keeping the shipments fresh, so that they could be fresh when they arrived in America. And so that's what we did. And we had that. You know, we had the Hawaiian weeds and the Thai weed that was that was packed that way, and you could have that package in a dark place.
Yeah.
For a year and a half, and when you opened it up, it was still as fresh as the day that they packed it in Thailand.
Okay. Yeah.
You know,
so it's super fresh and everything.
super fresh and everything. And so the stuff that I got from Hawaii, we would sell for $6,400 a pound wholesale here in New York. It was the best weed. I haven't seen anything close to that weed nowadays. It's
Let's see. You're not gonna use this book, right?
yeah. So it's you know, it's nowadays they're trying to sell things as fresh frozen and this and that. Everything's a scam nowadays in the industry.
Yeah.
You know, it's like the industry was created by fraud, lies, and deceptions, and control of the cannabis media and the cannabis information. But before we go any further, I want to thank Heman for inviting me out to do the Shivrati festival, the Mahashivrati, and I've had an excellent time. I got a little high, too high yesterday, I'll tell you, and I've had fun, and I'm back in New York after a long time, and New York has really, really changed. So I want to thank him. He's a really important figure in the legalized Nepal movement, right? But actually, it's not legalized Nepal. It's re-legalized. Nepal was legal when I went there.
Yeah.
And I have all the business cards of all the hash shops in Nepal in the 60s and 70s. And when Nepalese kids come over to my house, because they're all in their 20s and I'm 75, they look at the cards and say, and can hardly believe that at one time in their own country it was legal. In 73, Barendra, who was trained at Harvard, made it illegal and basically shut down all the shops in Kathmandu where people could go in. See, in Kathmandu,
Was it like Amsterdam? You would say
it was before Amsterdam. It was on a different scale.
Yeah.
But yeah, the first coffee shops that were in Kathmandu where they served hash and you could buy hash. You had government shops where you could buy hash.
And everybody was cool with it. Like it was like a cigarette thing. Like everybody knew, and nobody like looked bad on it.
No. If you're a Hindu, you have to take weed at least once a year on Shivrati.
Oh, I didn't know that. I didn't even know that was like a minimum.
That's everybody has to take it that day. Oh. But on Shiva's birthday, the king would bring trucks of weed and just pass it out to the sadhus, because the sadhus would come to Pashupatinath, the most sacred Hindu temple of Shiva's temple, to celebrate, and they smoked a lot of dope. But now it's illegal in Nepal for a sadhu to smoke only on Shivrati.
Yeah,
you know, that's crazy.
It's crazy.
See, the Nepalese, you know, some countries like Nepal, Pakistan, other countries are still fighting a drug war.
Yeah.
They still have like Pakistani DEA. They have, you know, Thai DEA, Filipino DEA.
You know what's crazy though? Pakistan on the list of countries that smokes the most cannabis or consumes the most hash or whatever is Pakistan in the world.
Yeah.
Karachi is the #1 city that smokes the most, more than California. Like New York smokes more than California.
Yeah.
So it's insane, the history and everything that's there. Like there's so many people smoke over there.
Well, the thing you got to remember that like at one point India was part of Pakistan.
Hindustan, yes.
And so when it was that part, the Dutch, not the Dutch, the English, who created the natural business industry.
Yeah.
You know, would buy their weed, grow their weed in India, and then export it to the pharmaceutical companies in England and in America, because people don't know that Lilly, Pfizer, Abbott, all those original natural business companies or made their initial fortunes on cannabis-based medicine.
Yeah.
See, the drug war is a Ponzi scheme. First of all, in the 1930s, the patents ran out on patented cannabis medicines. So the people who own the pharmaceutical companies, the super rich, realized the importance of cannabis and natural medicines. So what they did is they made Mother Nature illegal, and have been selling you chemical concocted copies ever since. Most of the recipes for that you get in chemical copies of today were basically sourced from trial and error methods that were created 6,000 years ago.
Exactly. They don't want you to get the hands on the information.
They don't want to get your hands on the information at all. They want to keep that information away from you. So that's why they made cannabis illegal. They don't want anybody growing it, realizing the importance of it.
It was the pharmaceutical companies telling, you said, Reagan to push it?
No, it was actually the pharmaceutical companies themselves, and the people who own the pharmaceutical companies, they're the ones that made it illegal. They made it illegal because they no longer could control it.
Yeah.
Now that the science has caught up to cannabis, right? They can no longer control it. It's really hard to control something that's part of your body. You have an cannabinoid system that if you didn't have that, it wouldn't work.
You wouldn't get high off of it then.
You wouldn't get high off of it. So and all mammals have that endocannabinoid system. That's why in Nepal, wherever you see a farmer, they'll have ganja growing there, and they'll feed it sometimes to their cows. To make them eat more, to make them happy, to make their milk sweeter, but they use it as a medicine. But in the 19th century, they had medicine, patented medicines and on the medicine it was embossed for man or beast, because you could take it or you could give it to your cow.
Wow. So what would they use?
They've been giving CBD to animals forever. They've been using CBD as for PTSD since before Alexander. Alexander used PTSD. Hashish, in Pakistan, they have two different kinds of hashish. They have one that's indica based, and then one that's a sativa indica hybrid that gets you really high. The one that's indica based is it was so strong that they were using it for operations at one point before they discovered the use of opium. They used cannabis indica to knock people out and prevent surgery.
That's why if you really look at a lot of people that I've seen smoke a lot of hash, they were into heroin at some point. If they were really they're really into hash, they were into heroin too a lot. Like it was a good substitute for them to actually just start smoking hash instead of heroin and shit.
Yeah, but the thing about it is that the pharmaceutical companies are the ones that control this planet. They invented morphine to combat the addiction of opium, because opium was every major city in America had opium dens in the 19th century. Right, so they got morphine to try to help them control the opium addiction. Then they created heroin to control the morphine addiction. Now you have fentanyl to help everybody get stoned out of their faces for real. Fentanyl is so strong, but it's all pharmaceutical stuff.
And then they have Suboxones. They have methadone.
Oh yeah,
they got everything.
They invented methadone to try to break heroin addicts out of their addiction.
But methadone is crazy.
And methadone is strong. Is harder to kick than heroin.
Yeah.
People don't even know that in the 1950s and 60s and 70s, they had a legal heroin program in London, in England.
Like giving people heroin?
You had a prescription.
Oh, wow.
You had a prescription. And same thing in Iran. In Iran, if you were an opium addict, you registered with the government, and the government gave you your opium allotment,
Was
daily or
Iran
monthly.
very was Iran very like what's that word, like Turkey? Was it like Turkey a lot where people smoked and they chilled out, and
Yeah,
it was like
exactly.
it was like a cooler vibe. It wasn't sort of like a religious country like everybody thought it was, right?
Right, and well, opium was always like an aperitif after you had a big meal. Right, they would they would pull out the opium pipe and give you a couple of hits of opium at the end of a dinner.
Yeah.
At the end of dinner, it was like an aperitif actually.
It wasn't like just to the poor people or anything. It wasn't like, yo, if you do opium, you're a scum in the corner. Like,
No. I mean, people who have who have a heroin addiction, they can work and function normally as long as they have their heroin every day to get them straight.
okay, yeah.
So there are people who use heroin their whole lives and have regular jobs and
Yeah.
do regular things, and you'd never think that he was a heroin addict, but he is a heroin addict, but he's a different kind of heroin addict. He now takes the heroin to maintain.
Yeah.
It's different. He don't get high anymore.
Yeah. Same thing happens with a lot of people like that.
Yeah.
So let's start from the beginning, right?
Okay.
What was your upbringing like? Where did you grow up and everything?
I grew up I was born in the Bronx. I moved to Florida with my family. Then in 1960, we moved back to New York, and we moved to Brooklyn. I went to Madison High School. My family had at the time, was the largest beauty parlor in Brooklyn. They had like 26 people working there. And my uncle was known as Mr. Jose. He's a foremost hairdresser. He worked in Hollywood after he moved out of New York. The neighborhood sort of changed when my generation grew up. They left it.
Yeah. They went to Long Island and everything.
Well, a lot of them went to California. A lot of them went to Florida. So it sort of changed. You go there now, it's a completely different neighborhood, but it somewhat looks the same. But the
So where did you what was your high school and everything like?
Madison. Well, it was the '60s. There was a lot of, in those days. There was a kind of music that was called doo-wop.
Okay, yeah.
There was doo-wop music and really good music on the radio. Doo-wop music and really good people on the radio. We had groups like the Four Seasons and Drifters. The music in those days were like usually they had groups of four singers that harmonized and stuff, and that was basically the music scene in the 50s and 60s. Then the Beatles came in and everything changed.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Everything changed. So blues has always been real big in Brooklyn, and we used to have a place in the village called the Cafe Ogogo, and there they had all the top blues acts: Paul Butterfield, Muddy Waters, Chuck Berry, not Chuck Berry, Chuck Berry, but Buddy Guy, James Cotton. So every week we'd have all these great blues musicians that were still alive that would play in the village. And there was a great music scene. People have to remember that we had to reintroduce marijuana to people, because there was such a after when they made Mother Nature illegal and been selling you chemical concocted copies thereof, they had to demonize marijuana.
Yeah.
They had to demonize it. It's the devil weed. It only crazy Mexicans.
They made movies on
how bad it was. They made movies on Reefer Madness movies. And in those days, they used to have a program on TV. It was all black and white. There was only 3 channels in New York in those days, and one of them was Channel 9. And Channel 9 once a year they would play like the King Kong movies every year for a week, and for a year, every week in the year for a week they would play Reefer Madness movies. So when we grew up, we grew up with the vibe that if you smoke reefer, you'll go insane. You do this, you'll do that.
Yeah.
And so when we started going to college and we were introduced to weed, I was introduced to weed much earlier because I'm Latin.
Are you from New York too, right?
And I'm from New York. We started introducing people to weed, And when people, they were all afraid, they're going to go crazy, they're going to do this. And then when they were introduced to weed, it sort of unbrainwashed them. It unbrainwashed them and made them think that everything that they've ever heard before or read before was bullshit. And it was bullshit.
Yeah. What was you guys smoking at that time?
In those days, we were smoking a really, really good Colombian, really good Panamanian, a really good Mexican, commercial Mexican. And then the best stuff that was available in those days was hash.
Okay.
We used to get hash from Lebanon. Some Lebanese have gummy red Lebanese. It came in sacks, cotton sacks, and the sacks would have different seals on them. Like this red Lebanese that we used to get had cherry stamps printed on the packaging. And so another one that from Lebanon was the cedars of Lebanon, the trees from Lebanon that they used to build ships out of, the cedars of Lebanon. And so you'd see the cedars of Lebanon, so you'd know it was Lebanese seed, Lebanese hash. Let me tell you a funny story, is that during 9/11, the whole city of New York was on PTSD. And so for the first time in 20 years, right, since the 80s, they let a Lebanese shipment of hash come into New York, right, and chill everybody out.
Yeah.
Right?
Wow.
And so I was at High Times, and I was talking there with someone, and they pulled out one of those bags to try to see how much I knew. Like if this young kid
knew,
to see what I know. Yeah. And I said, it's the Cedars of Lebanon stamp from that was a half a kilo. That was either a 250-gram package or a 500-gram package. But the really good stuff came in 125-gram packages, and you got 8 of those soles for a kilo. Right? The gummy red, it was a taste and a flavor you just don't see anymore. It was so good.
This was all age stuff you're getting, or you get varieties? This is the age, it's not aged, all different kinds?
Oh, we get all kinds of stuff. We got different qualities of gold, different qualities of red Lebanese. There was even a much darker quality. We were getting, like, from Pakistan, you'd have like 8 different kinds of Pakistani. Yeah. You'd have Pakistani gold seal. You have one gold on the inside, one brown on the inside, one black, one that was solid black. Those were indica plants that were used. When you went to Pakistan those days, you could get indica hash. Back in the day when the British ruled, they controlled that trade because
when Pakistan and India was one, right?
It was one.
Yeah.
They would actually go produce hashish and produce weed for the natural medicine industry, and export billions of pounds. I have the list of how much weed they brought back legally for the trade, and it was millions of pounds. They got hash from Afghanistan. They got hash from Pakistan, rather, indica hash, and they used making tincture out of the indica hash for pain relief, and that was on sale in England up until 1970.
Wow.
In the 60s, the British still had a farm in Afghanistan where they grew strictly strictly CBD,
like indica?
Indicas for that trade.
Yeah,
just a spot
just for that trade. Yeah,
people don't know when the King of Nepal, ruled that country. They would grow weed and sell it to the King of Nepal. Would go have his people grow the weed, and then they would export it to India.
Yeah,
to the British.
Yeah,
and in Nepal, there's a town called Nepal Gunj.
Okay,
and that was the place where the British came to buy their weed.
Wow, so fast. So when did everything change for you? When did you decide, like, I don't want to be in New York and I want to do my thing and get out and make moves out there?
Well, basically, I've always wanted to be a hash dealer.
Yeah.
And I love hash. So I wanted to visit every hash producing country. So I have. And I worked in Pakistan in a tribal zone for about a year and a half. I worked in Nepal for several years, in the 70s and 80s. I have really great memories of Nepal, of Pakistan. Oh my God!
You didn't feel like you was leaving a cozier life behind or anything like that?
I've never felt comfortable here.
Here.
In America. I felt more comfortable in Asia, in Pakistan and Peshawar.
You didn't feel like you was gonna get like somebody was like big in the beginning. Like, where was your first trip? Matter of fact, out of New York. Where was your first trip out of New York?
My first trip out of New York was, I went to California and we used to.
Out of the country. Out of the country.
Oh, out of the country. I went to Nepal. I went to India. I flew to India, and then I went up to Kathmandu.
Do you do
and
a
then I
hippie
never
trail?
went back. And then I stayed up there for like 5-6 years for the next 5 or 6 years in Nepal and India and Kashmir and Pakistan, and then I worked in Landakota on the border of Pakistan and Afghanistan. My connection, Abdul Ghaffur Khan, in the tribal zone, his brother was the head customs chief at Torkham.
Okay.
So we would send the trucks overland, and they would get to Torkham around 4 o'clock in the afternoon. They'd be the last ones across the border, and then we'd take them into the tribal zone. We'd load them up, and at daybreak the next morning, we'd send them to Lahore. And in Lahore, they wouldn't have been in the country 24 hours. They were from Pakistan to Lahore is just a few hours, and so by 12 o'clock, by lunchtime, they would be leaving out of Pakistan into India.
Oh.
So it's really hard to think that they had that together enough to load up and be out of the country within 24 hours.
My surprising part was there not a lot of people doing it, or was there a lot of people doing the same moves as you? Because and then also, was the material cheaper compared to those times?
Well, yes, I was paying about $10 a kilo, $20 a kilo for good Afghan resin.
It's so easy to make a flood for anybody at that point.
Dude, those days the Pakistanis were shipping millions. I mean, a lot of.
Never was a point where it was like a dry season. Never. It was like a drought.
I mean, never, man. The big loads. One of my friends brought a load in from Pakistan.
Yeah.
And he brought it in through the up into Canada through New York. By sea, by ship, and he brought enough to give every person in Canada, man, woman, and child, a half a pound. He moved like 80,000 pounds at a time.
Crazy.
I mean, just and in Canada has always been a hash market.
Okay, yeah, they're still big into hash right now.
They always have been.
They're not. They really don't have a reputation for flour.
Yeah,
they don't have a reputation.
Well, they do and they don't, but they don't have but they do have a reputation for hash.
Okay.
And I used to run a lot of hash.
Is it because of the French and the European influence there?
Oh yeah, they smoked the hash and tobacco. That's what they like. That's big there.
And was it hash and tobacco? Was that like common for you in New York, or was you introduced to it like somewhere out there?
I started smoking hash in New York straight. I used to take the hash and take a piece, like a piece of Lebanese or a piece of Pakistani, and put it on a pin, light it up, and then put the fire out, and then it would just burn. And then I would smoke it. That was the first way I was introduced into smoking hash.
I still smoke it like that time to time.
It's really a good way of smoking.
Because it's clean. You really get to taste it.
It's clean. The flavors that were coming out of Asia for hashish and marijuana were incredible. But basically, in those days, nobody was into smuggling marijuana. Why would you smuggle marijuana when you got hashish that's 10 times stronger, and it's more packageable? Packaging.
What was the price of let's say a pound of weed back then, a flower?
Well. At first, you bought a pound for about $100 a pound. You broke it down into ounces and sold it for $20 an ounce.
In like the Nepal, Afghanistan area, Pakistan, like what was like they didn't sell flour there?
They sold flour, but everybody went to Nepal for the hash.
It's not worth even buying flour, right?
No, you could, but in Nepal you'd have to go to specific places to find a good weed.
Because my thing was
because nobody kept it.
what was cheaper, flour or hash back then?
Flour was so cheap.
Crazy.
Was so cheap.
Now I went to Pakistan recently, right?
Yeah.
So what the prices they got right now in Pakistan, like let's say if you buying on a local level, right? Just buying as a
How much is a kilo of hash?
Right, like 250.
250?
Yeah, 250. Still pretty low. It's like $20 from back in the day. $20
Yeah.
is like $200 now.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Some things don't ever change.
Yeah, it's still affordable. So like let's say if you're just buying for personal use over there, it's $1 a gram for a hash, but nobody sells you a gram of hash in Pakistan. Nobody's ever gonna.
They give you a gram.
Yeah, they'll give you a gram, honestly, but like everybody buys 10 grams.
Yeah.
There's no quarters.
That's a tola.
Yeah, yes.
That's a trade sale.
Yeah.
In India, Pakistan, Nepal, 1 tola.
Yeah.
When you buy gold, you buy a tola of gold.
There's no grams, and then by the way, there's
no grams.
There's no accurate. Like you could take this hash home. It could be more. It could be less.
Yeah. Usually it's more.
Yeah, hopefully it's not less. What I used to do over there, I used to go to the people that cut chickens and shit.
Yeah.
I would go to them and be like, weigh this, because they had the scale right on deck. So I get cool with them, and they would weigh the hash for me just to make sure I don't get skimped and everything over there. But yeah, the hash was, for $10, you get 10 grams. So, and then basically right now, $1 is 250 rupees right now.
Yeah.
That's crazy. 250 rupees for $1.
Yeah.
And so basically, you could get 10 grams for 1,000 rupees over there.
Yeah.
But if you buy like an eighth of weed,
yeah,
it's gonna cost you like $50-$60. It's super retarded over there right now.
Yeah.
But they know that foreigners like flour.
Yeah.
So they'll give them whatever they got on flour. If they don't want the hash, you can take the flour for the high.
Yeah.
And my boys have copped some flour from over there, and they usually get good flour from police over there.
Yeah.
Police will confiscate it from some people and then sell it back to some other people.
Yeah.
And that's usually where you get the best flour over there from.
Yeah.
But
also the best hash.
Yeah.
And the best opium. The best everything you're going to get from the police.
Yeah. But that's the funny part about things where it's banned, where you get the best stuff in those places where the stuff isn't really allowed.
Yeah.
That's always the craziest part. But like, so what was the
I was buying Afghan pollen on the border. On the border.
Okay.
In the tribal zone.
And then how was it just a normal way of getting it across, just cars and everything?
What happened is in 1973 the king was overthrown in Afghanistan, and the people that came in were sponsored by the Drug Enforcement Agency. So they really wanted to wipe out the hash production.
That's
the pharmaceutical companies. They don't want anybody knowing how important that medicine is.
Yeah. Because there were still like big farms that were protected by U.S. military of opium in Afghanistan.
Oh, yeah.
In 2000. Like
today.
Yeah, it's probably going on today. Yeah.
No, it's definitely going on today.
So these pharmaceutical companies have those like farms and everything. Like they work with them for the opium, or how is the U.S. like military even protecting them?
They're the arm of the enforcement arm of the pharmaceutical industry.
Okay, but you even think like still to this day, because they took the military out of the Afghanistan, right? Like.
Well, now is a problem. They took the military out of Afghanistan, but you know the Turks have been running opium and heroin forever.
To this day,
and they have warehouses in Europe where they have. If let's say today they stop producing heroin, and it got completely outlawed. There's enough heroin. Stored in Europe to keep this heroin people happy for probably decades. Wow, you know what I mean? For decades.
Yeah.
You know, so when I was there, it was the most of the heroin that was made came from the Golden Triangle, from the Burma, Laos, and Thailand.
That's Thailand, yeah. So it's so weird, right? Like, so Thailand had the Golden Triangle there. Afghanistan.
They're also run by the DEA. You got to remember
the Golden Triangle is run by the DEA or Thailand?
No, the CIA. The CIA is not allowed to get money from the government to do the dirty work that they do outside of the country.
Oh, so they use drugs?
They use drugs. The Sinaloa cartel has been run by the CIA since the 50s.
They ran by the CIA. What makes
Yeah,
you think
because
that?
they've been using those cartels to be able to move guns down to South America to overthrow governments or to empower governments.
Guns is it's all. See, like everybody that tells you not to do something or people that make the laws are always the people profiting off of the drugs and guns.
Oh yeah,
Everything they tell you not to profit off of is because they're already profiting off of.
Yeah.
That's just insane.
But the pharmaceutical companies, basically control everything you eat, smoke, medicines you take. It's and none of the people really know that you could grow your own medicine at home.
Yeah.
So
and then everything is also with the fact that the stuff that they feed you now is gonna make you sick, is gonna kill you sooner. Slowly, they keeps killing you. Like
well, the food isn't food anymore. It's just like the weed isn't weed anymore. That's what somebody told me at the show. She said, "Man, this isn't weed."
Yeah.
This isn't weed. I said, "Yeah, tell me about it."
Exactly.
I've been trying to put the trichomes and the flavonoids and the terpenes back into the weed.
They've taken them all out with all
They're
this.
taking them all out, and Pietri's putting them back in. And I'm trying to tell people, man, you don't want to go to Jamaica to smoke AK-47.
Yeah.
You want to go to Jamaica and smoke some Jamaican.
Exactly. You want to have what they got over there.
What they had over there.
Yeah.
Because now they don't have it.
They don't have it.
Wow. The Dutch want to control cannabis like they control tulips.
Can you just speak into the mic?
The Dutch want to control cannabis like they control tulips. You cannot buy a tulip anywhere in the world that does not come from Holland. They've had 2 wars over tulips.
See, Europe has been very good at holding down whatever they want to sell. Just even with the Pope and the church with the wine, because I feel like Christianity was one of the first religions to make like a brand. Like wine was like they killed it on wine, like the branding, everything.
Yeah.
So Europe is like what Champagne is a region in France. I didn't even know this shit.
Yeah.
There's so much like I think Frenchie used to say terra or some shit like the taste of the land or something.
Yeah.
And that's what they what's the word like they copyrighted or something like they own like Champagne can't be from out the Champagne region.
Right.
So the Europeans, they just like the Dutch, you said like have been really good at what's the word I'm looking for, like controlling that market,
right,
of like making it their own.
Look, the worst thing that ever happened to cannabis, other than prohibition and the making of Mother Nature illegal, and selling you chemical concocted copies, has been the Dutch scene, because the Dutch scene, they've gone around to every country. And so now, when you go on Google, you'll get a synopsis of the cannabis scene in every country of the world. And basically, they've sent people to every country in the world, got all the information, and then they've introduced skunk number 1, and they've bred skunk number 1 into like everything.
Yes.
So that skunk number 1 is their genetic marker.
Yeah.
Their genetic marker. So in one day, they can say that it all belongs to them.
Oh, like the skunks and cheeses is similar, right?
Yeah. The skunk, what they sell today, ain't the skunk that what we had.
Yeah, no.
It's completely different. And you have some guy saying that he has the original skunk and the original this, and that he got it in Europe, and that now he's bringing it back. No, that guy bought seeds in Spain, and he's telling you that they're skunk weed. It has nothing to do with skunk. I remember the first time I had the skunk weed, and it smelled like you'd been sprayed by a skunk. It was impossible to disguise.
Yeah.
Even if you have to double pack it and double seal it and to put it in your pocket where it couldn't be smelled. Yeah. And then if you had a bunch of it in your house, you'd have to, the stuff that was sealed, you'd have to put it in another room. And then open up the package of skunk, because once that smell got out, it contaminated everything. It was like, I remember I brought the first load of skunk into New York, and I sold it at Christmas time. And I've had these conversations a couple of times in my life.
Clones or flour? You said clones or?
This was flour.
Okay.
It was Afghani flour. And the trichomes were big that you could pick them up with a tweezer. They were really big trichomes. Yeah. And when I brought it to New York, I said to my friend, I said, we're going to have to sell this for $100 an ounce. You think we can get $100 an ounce for this at 1,600 a pound wholesale? And, we were a little bit hesitant because, man, you could get the great Thai, the great Hawaiian, all the great hash that was available in New York at the time. Sure enough, we sold it for $100 an ounce. And that was in the 70s, man. That was an unheard of price.
That was an overprice?
That was one of the highest prices at the time to get for weed. The only ones that got that high of a price was super Thai weed and super Hawaiian weed.
I thought it would be like $20 a gram or some shit back then. No?
No, it was the really good weed was $150 to $200 an ounce.
But that was $100 was a lot, right? Like it was like 1,000, I guess now, or like 800, 500.
Whatever. Yeah.
That's crazy.
We sold that Hawaiian for $6,400 a pound wholesale.
Wow.
In New York City.
That's a good number.
I sent hash from Nepal. I had they sell leaves from the tree that Buddha was enlightened under, and then they hand paint Buddha's scenes on the leaf, and then they glue the leaf to a piece of cardboard and make it like a card where you could write something on the back, and then send a souvenir back with a leaf from the tree that Buddha was enlightened under. Yeah. So what I did is I packed my hash real thin, 10 grams, and then vacuum packed it, sealed it, and then I took cardboard, pasted, and on back of that, first I pasted the hash to the card, then I pasted the other card to the back.
Like a glue.
Yeah, I glued it. So the letters never weighed, they were always under an ounce. And then I used to have the letters mailed by I had a friend of mine's wife who worked at the American Embassy typing pool.
Yeah.
So I gave her my letters, and they would get mailed to the States. Now, those cards were from hash that I had. It was Nepali hash, made Afghan style, right? And when I sent them to New York, I was getting $500 for a 10-gram piece of that, a 10-gram card.
Wow, $500
for a 10-gram card. And I couldn't keep enough of them.
That's like 12. That's a good number.
That's a good number.
Especially back then, that was great.
Oh, the hash was unbelievable. The hash, you could take it and throw it against the wall, and it stuck.
Yeah. So much. I feel like even now, the quality has definitely gone down even in those hash-producing countries.
Why? Because they're making hash using bubble bags.
Oh, you think that's what it is?
Yeah.
So put me on. Tell me what's the best way for you think for hash?
Sifting, just like they do in Pakistan, just like they do in Afghanistan, just like they do in Lebanon.
I feel like bubble hash really damages the trichome heads or something.
Not only,
right?
no, what it does is when in the ice water method, you release the oils. So when you're using a 25 micron catch bag, right, the oils go right through it. So you're losing about 30%. I have a picture of it. It'll show. That's why. Yeah, I have a picture of it. You have the water floating on top of the oils, and the oils floating on top of the resin. That oil slick, you lose when you use bubble bags.
I fucking knew it, bro, because I was fucking...
So now they have people using bubble bags to make hash in Nepal, and when they know how to, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I get you, yeah. Wow, that's crazy. And then plus, like, they're not going to have that cold weather like you need to make bubble anyway on the regular, so you're wasting... Wow.
You see how much they're wasting?
What's causing the influence of the bubble bag? Because they already had the shit on lock already, so what's causing that?
What do you mean?
Like they didn't use bubble bags before,
right?
So what made them use it now?
It's a easy method to have something that you can sell.
It's quicker.
It's quicker. You get an immediate effect. It's immediate. You get immediate powder. You get immediate product. Missing that 30% of the flavor. Because High Times will tell you, forget the little heads, the little trichomes. Don't pay attention to that. Just collect the heads. Yeah, when you collect the heads, you collect the empty heads. The oil's gone, dude. And they'll tell you, oh, wait until the trichomes turn amber. Until when they're 50% amber, then you make your hash.
Yeah.
Because when the trichomes go amber, the THC turns into CBN.
Yeah. So what's the best time to harvest for hash?
When all the trichomes are cloudy. The minute that you see any amber, you cut it.
Okay, yeah. Oh wow, that's great. So you see, there's so much fake information out
Fake-
there
yeah,
for
because-
you to fuck up. Cause I'll make hash one way with the dry sifting one
Yeah.
year. Next year I'm put on to bubble, and it's not coming out like after.
It's not as good.
Yeah,
It's not as good
it
because
don't
you,
have that flavor. Plus, fresh frozen got that nitrogen taste, like this weird.
fresh
just-
frozen is a scam, so that you buy, expensive equipment. That guy French. Well, people say, don't say it like it is, because if you start putting people down and da 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 da. Well, let me tell you, we're smugglers, man. I've been smuggling the shit out of fucking Afghanistan and Pakistan since the 60s. Lebanon, Afghanistan, Nepal, I'm famous for. Their hash making techniques were the only ones that really are true methods.
There's the different ones where they
the bags have been a denigration of cannabis. So every time you use a bag, you're losing 30%. When you touch the inside of the bucket, when you're using buckets to do it, you'll see the buckets are sticky.
Yeah.
There's your dope, dude.
Wow, I knew
You
it.
left it in the bucket.
I always knew there was something missing, because when you take bubble hash and you press it the traditional way or whatever with the hot bottle, it comes out looking amazing for that moment.
But
now when you sit on it,
it dries up and it's powdered.
And then people used to say, like, if you take the fresh frozen, the wash stuff, and you freeze it and you grind it out, you can keep it like keef. It doesn't do that. It'll degrade.
Yeah.
Keef will just stay like that, like with dry sift, basically. Like
Dry sift will just stay like that. The only time
glistening.
Glistening. When you press it,
it'll get black.
It'll get
shiny,
black. It gets shiny and black. And when you apply heat to it, that's what the Pakistanis would do. When I used to buy like 300, 500 pounds at a time and pack them into vehicles, and I showed you the method. They had like a huge log that worked like a hammer.
Yeah.
And
some of them will have like spikes on them and shit too.
Just was a big like thing. Just to smash it like a big hammer.
So it's basically doing this type of shit.
And the copper pot.
Yeah.
Underneath the copper pot, they had charcoal.
Yeah.
Hot charcoal, hot coals, and that's where the heat would come. Once you apply heat to the resins, it starts to stick together.
Yeah.
People don't know that when like the Lebanese would sift their hash. And I have, if you ever want to get a good book about hash making, get the book by, what's his name? There was one book, I'll think of it in a second.
Okay.
But he showed the traditional methods. Once you get the resin glands and you put them in like a tin pot, a tin can, and you don't have to do anything to it, just leave it there. It coagulates and gets to stick together, and it comes into a ball. All you have to do is turn it around and roll it and make it into
heat.
You don't even need heat.
Yeah, body heat is enough.
Body heat is enough.
Yeah.
And in Pakistan, when I used to go and buy hash, I used to buy a warehouse. There'd be tons of hash in there, tons of resin.
Just mountains of resin, right?
50-gallon sacks and 55-gallon drums of resin. And what you did is you stuck your hand into the resin, right, and pressed it in your hand as hard as you can. And if it stuck together, it was fresh. If it didn't stick together, it was old last year's resin.
Isn't that good though, to have last year's resin, or is that bad?
Well, it's you want the resin to be able to be sticky.
Okay, but I thought it was be aged well, like since it was.
Well, you can, and there's ways of pressing it and adding and making it look nice, but there's nothing like fresh.
Okay, yeah, it's like fruits, like it's
it's nothing like fresh.
Because it'll turn once you press it, especially if you have a handful of it, it'll turn into hash right in front of your hand. You'll see the black and then the lighter brown on the outside. Yeah,
exactly. See, we brought Afghan hash methods to Nepal in 1970, the late 70s. And so we started teaching the Nepalese how to make sieved hash. So now when you go to Nepal, you see it.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And that's the highest quality hash that they produce today in Nepal is the Nepalese made Afghan style.
Okay, I wonder if nowadays that the market is fucked up because of the bubble bags. Because
of course
it's like,
it's fucked up.
But like, listen, just like how you guys taught the Nepalis how to do it, Nepalese, like, what if it's like the newer generation of you guys, the smugglers, that's telling them about the bubble bags?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just you fucking up. Like, it's just the second generation just do. It's just it's just the base. Yeah, that's crazy.
Dude, I wrote a paper 15 years ago. Bubble bags, the biggest cannabis consumer fraud in history.
It's just, it makes sense to me though, because I know the market over there. I know what the hash feels like, looks like.
And dude, they were selling 9-bag kits and telling you that you got different qualities of grades of hash. No, you didn't. You got different broken up size pieces of trichome in varying degrees, and contaminated with plant matter at varying degrees. You get green.
Yeah.
When you look at your trichome, do you see green ever?
Nah,
no,
never.
you see amber, cloudy, and you see clear, amber, and then cloudy. No, you see clear, cloudy, and then amber.
Yeah.
When you see amber, that's when you got to cut your plant. My buddy invented the ice method. It's the
dry ice and shit.
The ice method, the ice water method.
Okay, so the bubble shit.
The bubble shit.
Yeah.
He built a machine for it, and Mila of the pollinator company was under contract with my friend. She broke the contract and took the methods that he taught her, and they added bags to the system. The system that we originally used was a 5-micron coffee filter. We caught everything. So when you see, like today, if you have really, really good sieved hash, right, it may be 38%, it may be 40% pure resin, pure THC. But if you do the correct ice method, you could get nearly 80%. 85%, 90%.
So through just the same size as the coffee bags.
The coffee filter.
Coffee filters
is 5 micron. So it's too. The oil can't get through it. It goes back into the hash that you've released. Okay. I have pictures of it that you can see it.
That makes so much more sense than running it through so many bags while your oil's getting stuck to so many bags, and then as you're washing it out with the water.
Yeah.
And just collecting the trichome.
But these kids don't know. Yeah. They don't know how to. They were taught by these other people who are trying to create an industry that, by the way, was created by fraud, lies, and deceptions and control of the cannabis media and cannabis information. And, I think I've been selling pot here since 1963 in New York, smuggling the whole thing. The first time I crossed the border with a load from Mexico was 1967. I've been chased out of Nepal twice, extradited from Pakistan, handed over in chains from Laos, and I've been in the trade for a long, long time. And so anyway, it's unbelievable, all the misinformation that's out there. But the biggest misinformation out there, and this is what I can bring back to New York, and because this is my scene. I used to sell weed in Washington Square Park. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so I go back a long way. And what can I do to help the new generation of pot people here now?
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
Is by teaching them the correct methods. And one of the correct methods that I teach are my lighting techniques. The lighting schedules that people are on, 18 and 6, 20 and 4. Ganja, marijuana, cannabis grows in the dark. Not in the light.
Yeah. That's true.
And not in the light. You're not giving you're stressing the plant out by giving it too much light. Photoperiodic control was left out of the grow books, the most important aspect of growing. In 1920, 2 American scientists discovered that we have 3 grow periods. You have the springtime, right? Like your springtime flowers, opium, right? It finishes in the spring. Valentine's is spring. There's springtime flowers. Okay, those are long day, short night schedules. So the days are longer, and the nights are shorter. Are shorter, right? Cannabis, rice, tomatoes, right? Yeah. They have a long night schedule.
Yeah.
So they have a short day and a long night.
You see, like in flower, the plant stretches the most it really does, and it's when the light is lowered.
Right, but the plants stretch because of the way you're growing. and I'll get into that right now, but let me just finish this thought. When the nights are longer than the day is when a cannabis plant automatically goes into flower. When it goes under 12 and 12, and then it's 12 and 01 and 11:50. It's 11:59 and 12:01 at night. That's the click.
Okay, yeah.
That's the click that clicks it into flower, right? So they left photoperiodic control out of the grow books. It's the most important aspect of growing, because it gives you it teaches you how to be able to grow year round. So what they did is they created their own lighting system, right? That basically makes you spend more money.
Man.
The first of all, let me just get this straight with you guys, is that photoperiodism was left out of the grow books. That's such a ripoff for this scene. That's unbelievable. What I do is I teach photoperiodic control, which I'm going to bring all my teachings and get everybody in tune so that they can survive. Because if you don't know how to grow for real, your electric bills are going to kill you.
Yeah.
Your electric bills are going to be higher than what you're going to get for a pound.
That's true.
So if you what we do is we put plants on a 12-hour schedule of light, a 5.5 schedule dark, 1 hour light, 5.5 dark. The 1 hour light break in the middle of the night does not allow the phytochrome level to diminish enough for it to induce flowering. So I trick the plant into having 2 nights rest, and it grows faster and bigger. And you've just saved 40% of your electric, and you don't need to use an air conditioner because your room is too hot. You don't have to feed your plants every day because your lights are eating up your water in your room, so you have to feed them every day. It really helps your job be much easier, and your products turn out much faster. You get by controlling the light, you get 30% increase in production. 1 minute. That says, why do plants stretch? Okay. So let me clue you in right away. Your plants stretch because you created a light junkie on 18 and 6. If you try to replicate 18 and 6 or 20 on, 4 off, you'd have to have 2 suns to replicate it outdoors.
Wow.
So cannabis is a weed, dude. You can take a bunch of seeds and throw them in Central Park, and next year all of Central Park will be full of weed, dude. It grew, and no one's done nothing. No one's added any nutrients or any of the bullshit that they give you, tell you to use.
Yeah, that's crazy, because it's like nobody ever talks about the fact that there's a moon at night. It glows.
Yeah.
What's with this dark period, like crazy dark?
It's a different type of the moonlight doesn't affect
not as much, but when they talk about, like you said, you turn the light on in the middle of the dark period for an hour and it doesn't really affect it like that.
George Cervantes had everybody in Oregon growing 18.6 in a greenhouse, so they would actually augment the greenhouse with more lights to copy 18.6.
Yeah.
When all you needed was a light bulb on in the middle of the night to keep the plants in veg. Wow. You know how much money was thrown away using light that was totally useless?
That's crazy. Now I gotta go and fix my timer at the house.
But the thing about why they should take the class is because there's a lot of things that you need to know about growing this method and about what you should do, because then you need to use as much CO2. You're not using as much nutrients. You're not using as much electricity, because now you don't need air conditioning because your room is not that hot.
Yeah. That's true.
Right? So when the plants stretch from 12 and 12, you put them on 18.6 and then you put them on 12 and 12, they're already light junkies. They stretch to the light. When you do 12 and 1, it grows into a bush. So you get a bush. It grows like chrysanthemums growing. And
you said, can you repeat 12 and 1? Like
12 and 1.
12 hours on?
It's 12 hours on, 5.5 off, 1 hour on, 5.5 off.
Okay.
The 1 hour on in the in the middle of the dark period does not allow the phytochrome level to diminish enough for it to induce flowering. I've tricked the plants into having 2 nights rest, and guess what? In 10 days, you've gotten 7 or 8 weeks of growth. You've gotten like 2 extra weeks of growth under that 30-day period. So not only do you save money on electricity, your growths are happening faster.
Wow, amazing, bro. That's
okay,
crazy.
But there's a lot of other aspects of it that I can show you. I've taken this 12-in-1, and basically it's biology 101. People that should be listening, go back to their biology books. But I taken 12-in-1, so I said to myself, and I read about it, and I was taught that by my buddy Reinhardt, who invented the ice water method, and he's the one that named light depth. And okay. I had an argument with him. I said, man, this is a great thing. I said, but why are you calling it light depth? Why not call it photoperiodic control, photoperiodism? He said, the Americans, they're not smart enough.
Oh, it wasn't even an American guy who did it?
The German guy.
Wow, back to the Europeans.
The German guy, he was living in California. Wow. He's an old hippie hash smuggler. He's dead now.
They're smart, bro.
So now, how much light does a plant need for photosynthesis? When is the plant tanks are full for photosynthesis, and how does the plant react to the tanks being full for photosynthesis? And how much light do you need for flowering?
Yeah.
So everybody comes up with different numbers, this, and the number is like in the northern climates like Afghanistan, Pakistan, and the mountains. In Nepal too, they get about 6 to 6.5 hours of light, and then the tanks are full.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
So then the plant goes into photosynthesis protection and shuts off the CO2 intake. But the Dutch are saying, oh, keep giving it CO2, keep giving it nutrients, keep giving it this, even though your plant is locked at that point. Yeah. It can't take any more light. Yeah. It can't take any more nutrients. And they've made up all his bullshit about what that effect. It's a natural effect. If you have plants on the equator, equatorial plants, the most light they're going to get for photosynthesis is 7 hours and 45 minutes.
Okay, it's not, yeah.
And if you're growing indica or indica dominance, it's between 6.5 hours tops what you need. Then people go, oh, because they've been taught that the more light, the bigger the bud. Guess what? The less light, the bigger the bud.
Wow, it's
backwards.
Opposite.
It's all backwards.
That's how they fuck you up too.
That's how they fuck you up, dude.
That's crazy.
That's how I'm gonna save everybody in New York by teaching them correct techniques that they'll be able to grow the fire at the lowest common denominator. So we're gonna bring my class here. It's called Direct Aid to All Growers, and I'm doing it with Hamat. He's going to be promoting it and everything. It's going to be a class, a direct aid to all growers. When you take this class, I'm going to cut your expenses down 60 to 45% in production costs, and I'm going to up your production 30%. Yeah. And I'm going to introduce you to the best nutrients known to man. It's the original NASA formula in its purest form, or 1-part formula. Right? People come up to me and they're using 12 different things. They got CalMag, they need a boom booster, and they need this and they need this. And I tell them, you don't need any of that. You know what you need? You need to go out and buy a box of tomato food. And just use that tomato food and then tell me what your results are. They come back, they say, wow, this stuff, the tomato food worked, and you know what, it even tasted better. Well, yeah, because you have everything combined what you need. Tomatoes have the same photoperiod as cannabis.
Yeah, they grow very similar too.
They grow similar. So they use the same nutrients. So I tell them, the Dutch, they came in, they ripped off my friend's formula and made it into 12 different things. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so before we start wrapping up, because I know we got to get you out of here soon.
No, I'm good. We can talk.
You got time?
What time is it?
It's
Yeah.
3:00 already. That's what I'm saying.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
All
we
right.
got a boogie.
We got a boogie. But
so-
well, let me just say one thing. I'm going to be putting on this class with him on, and it's going to everyone who takes this class, when they walk out of this class, they will be making money. And the first day that you make the switch over, the first thing that you'll see is that your plants are happier. You can feel that if you're a grower. You can see when your plants are happy, right? And then after 30 days, you see your electric bill. Mm-hmm. And now after 30 days, you have a bigger plant than you had before, and it's growing faster.
Yeah.
Right? And then you'll see, oh, God, this is it.
Yeah.
And once you have this figured out, okay, the one thing I want to tell you, I wrote this article for Skunk Magazine. I've written for all the magazines. And the name of the article was Less Light, More Weight.
Okay, yeah.
And so everybody who took that class and took my lesson, they got more weight, with less costs, you know? And so what I did, when I did my 12-in-1, I said, wow, this is beautiful. And then I said, well, how far can I take it? He said, so then for the next round, I did half hour on, half hour off, half hour on, half hour off over 12 hours, 5.5 off, 1 hour on, 5.5 off.
Yeah.
The plants stayed in veg using 7 hours of electricity, and the plants loved it. Then I said, well, how far can I take it? And I took it down to 15 minutes on, 45 minutes off, 12 hours for 12 hours, 5.5 off, 1 hour on, 5.5 off. The plants stayed in veg using 4 hours of electricity.
Wow, that's crazy.
And the plants loved it. They grow in the dark. Then I did this. I took a 15-watt strobe light and put it in my room for 24 hours. The plants stayed in veg. Wow. So once you see that, then you see that what I'm telling you, that you've been lied to for a long, long time, and you're paying for it. And you're paying for it by buying bullshit genetics, not bullshit Dutch genetics, but bullshit nutrients, bullshit light schedules. They want you to use the lights, buy as many lights as you can, buy freezer lockers to keep your weed.
CO2 tanks.
Yeah.
Washing machines, big ones.
He taught my buddy Reinhardt taught them how to use the washing machines, but he ran it through coffee filters.
Yeah. Nah, they want you to do all this different stuff where it breaks down your shit.
And then you run it through bags.
Yeah, exactly.
What's new about that? That's a method that's been proven to be very sketchy.
Yeah.
Very sketchy. And those guys made billions of dollars selling. George Cervantes was going to sell a 15-bag kit. And then I came down on him. Said, George, man, aren't you tired of ripping people off? They've had those books translated into all languages. So if you go to Greece and you get a Greek grow book, they'll teach you 1806 what George Cervantes taught you. There's a big control of that information. And all these kids come at me, like they know what they're doing. And then I point out, well, I'll ask them a question, and they can't answer it. The reason they can't answer it is they weren't taught it, and it was left out of their grow books.
That's true.
So the class that I give in New York is going to make you money. And within 30 days, you'll see the money that you'll now start making, because you'll be able to grow fire at the lowest common denominator. That's the name of the game.
Amazing. So we can find your books and all your information on your website, which is
growlightjoe.com. And then my genetics, which I specialize in land race and F1. F1 is first generation. I have these kids telling me, I bred my cookies with my Gorilla Glue, and now I have one. I have F1. No, you ain't got F1. You got a poly hybrid. When you put it out, you're gonna have like 10, 12 different variations.
All right,
F1 is the first generation from 2 different land races, and you get a hybrid vigor, right? That the only time that you get it is when you breed 2 landrace strains together.
Okay.
So you don't get it by breeding a hybrid to a hybrid.
Yeah, it's not.
You get a polyhybrid.
Exactly. That's what everybody got now.
Yeah, everybody got polyhybrids. Nobody knows what they got, and right away, you know, I hear people yesterday at the show, man, the weed don't taste, this ain't like weed, dude. It don't, you know, it's not weed, you know. Yeah, it's not weed. They've stripped it of all the cannabinoids, all the terpenes, everything. It only left THC that gets you fucked up out of your face. And all the flavors, the taste, and the aroma are left outside, but they've separated that because some of those terpenes are good for appetite control, or they're good for this, or they're good for that, and they're keeping that as their medicine and keeping that information away from you. I specialize in medical strains. One book, if you ever get a chance to read it, is The Drug Plants of Africa, and you see all the African plants that they produced for the natural business industry, and all the things that it cured. And you can just see that they just copied that. You can just see that they copied from the Mahabharata. Cannabis is a public domain. That's why they cannot patent it. It's been public domain since
years.
For 6,000 years. The Mahabharata is 6,000 years old.
That's all they do is they play with information, man.
Play with control of information. It's unbelievable.
What's the best way to contact you?
GrowLikeJoe.com. If you go to GrowLikeJoe.com, there's my website. You can send me an email. There's my phone number. If you call me up, I can send you a menu. You can look at what I got. I'm going to be introducing dripstone nutrients that cost you, as a hobbyist, it'll cost you about 8 cents a gallon. It's the purest stuff. It's like cannabis blood. It's an ionic form, so it just sucks it up like cannabis blood. You know, people are talking about living soil. It's so much better. It's the purest form of living soil.
Yeah.
It's cannabis blood. You know, living soil is hard work.
Yeah, no, it is.
It's hard work.
Upkeep.
Where are you gonna mix dirt in New York?
Worms,
all this other stuff. You gotta use real nutrients, and the best nutrients I've used has been this dripstone nutrients. I use it today. The results are outstanding, and it's much easier to use. It comes out clear and clean as water, man. It's beautiful. And I'll be bringing some samples to the show. Me and Heman are going to be putting together a big grow class. We're thinking around 420 at time.
Nice.
You know what I mean? And believe you me, if you take this class, when you leave, you'll be making more money than you've made before. I guarantee it.
Let's do it, man. Thank you for coming through, man. I really appreciate it. We got to get you on again. I wish we had more time with you.
No problem.
This has been sick. I don't even notice the time fly by so
yeah.
quick. But thank you, man. Thank you for coming out. It's been Queens on the Map podcast, man. Thank you for coming down.
This is what I want to do for New York. Is I want to make everybody more money.
Yeah, man. If you can save them money, you make them money.
That's right.
That's already starting off. Thank you guys for tuning in, and we're out.